Namaskar, friends. I am Dr. Jaynarayan Vyas, your host, and you are with the Global Crossroads, a channel which has just started appearing on the screen, a channel which is aiming at presenting happening things or happening events in the world in English with an independent analysis, description, and reliable information. A channel that will be useful to anybody, but more to those who are preparing for competitive selection examinations like state civil services or central civil services like IAS, IPS, IRS, etc., etc., etc. We have just started making our appearance on the screen, but we are not new. We run a channel called The Real Debate for last 4 years. We have another channel in Hindi called Khabardar, which is very well received. And I'm sure this channel, which I'm starting mainly for the English speaking or English liking audience, and also overseas Indians who would like to stay in touch with happening things not only in India but all over the world. Friends, today we are going to discuss about the proposed law against the malpractices and paper leaks in the competitive examinations mainly. There was a huge agitation. Sonam Wangchuk went on indefinite fast. 18th day he was shifted to Medanta Hospital. Later on he declared that he was satisfied with the discussions he had with the representatives of the Union Cabinet, and he broke his fast. Abhijit Dipke, Chicago-based person whose brainchild is cockroach. And cockroach's origination is, it came out of the brain of the highest office in judiciary in India. But cockroach soon has become an aspiration for Indian youth, which was getting frustrated day by day due to the falling standards of education, unemployment, lack of opportunities. In a country where the average age is 31 years, the youngest country in the world, and 70% of the population is less than 35 years of an age. This question matters. What happens in the exams, especially the competitive selection tests? Those who aspire for cracking these exams work very hard, sweating their blood out, two years, 3 years, go to centers like Kota or Delhi or any other center, take coaching for 2 years, 3 years. If they don't have sufficient money to fund them, sometimes a piece of land that belongs to the family is sold or mortgaged. A house is mortgaged or sold. And in the worst of the worst scenario, the least thinkable, the ladies Stridhan, what we call Gehne, that also are sold. Or mortgage. After all this, when they are just about to appear for the exam and they learn that paper has leaked and the exam is called off, you can imagine the kind of frustration, you can imagine the kind of shock, you can imagine the kind of situation they must be facing. Virtually, they break into pieces. They go into deep depression at times, and some of them commit suicide. Recently, the last straw on the camel's neck was a paper for the NEET, which is an examination for admission to the medical faculties, was leaked. And the aspirants got the blow on the face. From nowhere, cockroach surfaced to sort of fuel the fire. Jantar Mantar became the place where Sonam Wangchuk went on indefinite fast in support of the youth. And then, all of a sudden, Abhijit Dipke arrives. Surprisingly enough, and that is where a reason to doubt arises, where transparency perhaps seems to be sacrificed the most. Sonam Wangchuk, for the first time when he led a Padyatra from Ladakh to Rajghat, he was arrested, hardly 100 people, and taken to Jaipur jail. Abhijit Dipke is given all the clearances right away at the airport. Why? Why government was so much keen? Why government was so much charitable? Why government was so much kind to Abhijit Dipke? The question doesn't find a suitable answer. So in that kind of a scenario, that kind of a background, and then the agitation getting violent, the atrocity of the police, where tear gas shells were burst, the batons with nails were used to beat the agitators, pellets were fired at them, and now one of the pictures that has recently gone viral, a Jawan is shown firing from AK-47. Now these were student agitators, believe me. They were not Atankwadis. Why this treatment to them? The demand for the resignation of the education minister became very strong. There were other two demands. Each one who sacrificed, who committed suicide, his family should be given a compensation of 1 crore. Dharmendra Pradhan must resign. And most important, the Prime Minister should apologize to the nation for the atrocities let loose on the students. Later on, some more demands are added to that. We are discussing this whole issue, friends, as a bystander, objectively, no sides taken, not the least. We never take sides. But then, when these kind of events take place, when in a democracy a right to protest meets with batons first, then the electric shock sticks, pellets which is fired on the Athankwadis in the Kashmir Valley, and somewhere some Jawan is found to be using AK-47, which is just not done. Who gave them these orders? So, new demand emerged from the agitators that the government must inquire into this issue, that who gave them the orders. Incidentally, the Delhi Police Commissioner, who had a background of IB, replaced the Delhi Police Commissioner till then. Even Delhi Police Commissioner till then did not know that he was being replaced. वो कहीं थाने में बैठा तैयारियां कर रहा था to face the agitation, when the news came that the new commissioner has arrived, and that too from IB. Now this all leads to a suspicion that somewhere the government has no clear intention. The government wanted to crush this agitation and establish that such agitations like what farmers' agitation did do not achieve any results. Dharmendra Pradhan's resignation was denied. The students started flocking around from all over the country. From where they came, how they came in such a great number, again, is a million-dollar question. Who was the organizing force behind them? Did they came just out of their own will? No, I don't think so. So there are several things that Abhijit Dipke is seen during the agitation day when police atrocities being let loose. He is arrested, taken away, whisked away in the police van. After 2 hours, he reappears. Again, he is whisked away after some time in the police van. This all leads to suspicion. Anna Hazare was taken to Medanta Hospital, and there he broke his fast. Sonam Wangchuk follows the same tradition. Why? These are the questions which only the future will be able to answer. Like in case of Ramlila Maidan agitation, long after everything happened and it was being virtually forgotten, Shanti Bhujan comes out and says that I feel sorry for supporting this agitation, which was a game plan of Bharatiya Janata Party and Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh to dislodge Congress from center. So is this a similar game plan? Is cockroach a similar game plan to dislodge a government in Delhi? Is there a substance in the rumor that is going around that one of the highly placed cabinet members in the Union cabinet was summoned by Sergio Gore in the small hours of the morning and had a meeting with him? Why? What was the provocation? What was the reason? So everything remains covered under a shroud of mystery. Nothing is clear. And the question that who suffers the most when question paper is leaked, the obvious answer is students who have worked hard, burning midnight oil, and also virtually sweating blood. All of a sudden, they suffer a shock that there is no exam taking place. The second question is, Why did the government feel the need to introduce a new law? There are several laws. Why one more law? Over the past few years, several recruitment and entrance examinations have been affected by paper leaks. One gives an average of one paper leak every week for last 3 years. Maybe it may be more. It's worth getting into these details. Millions of students have suffered. Millions of youth who worked hard, burnt midnight oil, sweated their blood to crack these exams. Their dreams were shattered when the papers leaked. The government concluded that paper leaks are not ordinary crime. My God, it took them so many years. At least if we look at the present government, this is third term for the Honorable Prime Minister. आपको अब पता चलता है that paper leaks are not ordinary crime. They are organized offense. Very right. Therefore, a strong legal framework was considered necessary. True, of course. The third question that arises on the, or that comes on my mind is, what does the new law provide? In simple terms, if anybody steals a question paper, sells it, buys it, circulates it through social media, steals it electronically, or assists in any such activity, strict legal action can be taken. Person can face a jail up to 10 years and a fine up to 10 crore. So long-term imprisonment and a very heavy fine is now proposed. Even stricter action against organized criminals who network and get involved in paper leaks will take place. Good. All these objectives, who prevented government to act upon? Was a law necessary to bust a network? Was a law necessary to prevent criminals who are breaking laws and getting involved in paper leaks? There are enough laws under which the government of India could have acted. Now you are talking of entirely something which is new, as if you are inventing. This is like reinventing the wheel. The fourth question, friends, is, should students be worried about this law? The government is quick enough in assuring them, "Fikar mat karo, don't worry about it. This is not against the student. This is against those who are leaking the papers." But then it is precisely silent, or if a supervisor in the examination hall catches somebody saying that he was looking at the paper from the neighboring student or neighboring examinee, will he be subjected to this law? The law is precisely quiet on this. There is no discussion, no clarification. The fifth question, therefore, is, how do paper leaks actually happen? A question paper goes through several stages. This is the first thing. When you have more than one stages through which a process takes place, every stage is a potential leakage point. First, the question paper is prepared, printed, packed, stored securely. And if it is stored securely, there is no point of leakage is taking place. Transported, finally delivered to examination centers. If corruption or negligence occurs at any stage, the possibility of leakage arises. This is what I told you in the beginning. Therefore, the solution is not just a strict law. The entire examination system must become more secure and transparent. This law is not going to make that. The law guarantees action. The law guarantees strict penal action. That means you accept that there will be paper leaks. You are not still willing to accept or declare that the government hereby declares that there will be no paper leaks now on. But it is not exactly that. I'll not be unfair to the government. At least under a person of the stature of Nandan Nilekani, a committee is formed to go into all these things and advise the government. I think that's the best part of it. This time it is not somebody who is an RSS ideologue. Here is a person who in Bangalore contested Lok Sabha election as a Congress candidate against Anant Kumar and got defeated. Who worked with during Manmohan Singh's time. This Aadhaar and all these linkages which you find are the brainchilds of Nandan Nilekani. He is a co-promoter of Infosys along with Narayan Murthy. So there is a person with a stature, highly educated, latest technology he is exposed to, and he can think 3 steps ahead of what is happening today. So I think the best outcome that has happened according to me out of this is Nandan Nilekani's appointment to head the task force. And because he is there, his name is involved, I am willing to believe that something useful, something strategic, something objectively thought about will come out. So a hope is created that government is serious about now stopping the future leakages. And that's a good sign. The 6th question is, can technology prevent paper leaks? I think Nilekani committee will be better placed to answer this. But anywhere, whatever technology, whatever you are using, the basic principle of management is larger the system, larger the layers of inefficiency. This principle fittingly applies here also. Larger the system, larger the layers of inefficiency. But then how UPSC is not so far involved in leakage of papers? What is it that they are employing? A lesson or two, Nilekani's committee will be benefited to learn. The nation will be benefited if we can learn, and it could be brought into practice. The next question is, what does the opposition say? The opposition, as usual, says law is good, but the real taste of the pudding lies in its eating. That's a very general statement. I think opposition must come out with their white paper of suggestions submitted to Nandan Nilekani committee. This is not a political issue. Let us not just dump it into the dustbin and discard it as something against Narendra Modi or something against Dharmendra Pradhan or something against somebody. This is not a political issue. This is an issue which affects the youth of this country. The youth which can be turned into an asset. It could be turned into a demographic dividend. These kind of faux pas can create demographic disaster. So I am disappointed by observations, superficial statements. They must come out. They don't have always a role to criticize. They are a government a shadow government in waiting if you go by the British practices, and you have adopted a large chunk, and your system of parliament is Westminster model. So let the opposition as a government, a shadow government, come out with, they must also appoint their own committee under equally competent a person like Nandan Nilekani, come out with the suggestions and submit it to the Nilekani committee that, hey, this is what we want to say. If you find useful, adopt it. If you want us to share some of your observations, we are willing to do it. Here are 5 experts, including Sam Pitroda, who can react to it, who can talk to you in the same language. This is not a political issue. This issue cuts across the political party line. This is the issue which affects a youth, which is an asset for this country, an asset which can put this country where the other progressive or developed world is getting older. Japan, China, US, Europe, they all are getting now, they have more and more senior citizens as part of the population. India, at least till 1950 to 2050, is going to be the youngest country in the world. Take advantage. And if we want to take advantage, we will have to put everything together. Taking advantage for a country, there cannot be opposition or a ruling side. You have to have a side which talks sense, a side which can think about it objectively, a side which can think about delivering results, a side which can visualize a concrete plan for the government, that here is the foolproof plan, act accordingly. And if then the government of the day doesn't act, I think then that government has no business to be a government. But right now, the opposition must have their own committee, their own system to talk about this. Equally competent, equally respectable people on that committee who can think about, who are educationists, academicians, technologists, politicians, public life figures. Some 30-40 people put together. Let them come out with alternative report and hand it over to Nandan Nilekani. That if this helps, here is what we have done. Let the nation also know what they have provided to the Nilekani committee. The gist of it. I think this is what will make the opposition a responsible opposition, if at all it wants to be. The 8th question, friends, is what is government's position? The government says its objective is to protect the future of millions of students. There will be zero tolerance for examination mafias. Success should belong only to those who earn it through hard work. This is a pedestrian statement. More populistic verbal diarrhea than anything else. Much better, much well thought of was expected out of government. And they have people like Shashi Tharoor who can articulate well, who can hit the nail on the head. But that again, let us agree that the government also has it is a faction-ridden government. And RSS does not have that kind of capability of thinking about futuristic tomorrow. No. Their goals are different. By and large, even today, they have remained an organization which is unregistered, collecting funds. How they are covered under the control of foreign funds, God only knows. But let's not worry about it. This is not the issue where one should waste time in creating differences. This is a real issue which bugs our nation, and it should be so dealt with. So the government creating Nandan Nilekani committee has done a job up to that point well. The opposition, by simply making superfluous statements, talks something which lacks the credibility or will to provide a serious alternative. They have people. They have Shashi Tharoor. They have Sam Pitroda. Many who can be invited to be a group which dwells over this issue of paper leaks in these kind of examinations and come out with their own suggestions. They have former vice chancellors. It is not that they have dearth of talents. If they want, though there may be some academicians who may not be members of Congress or members of Congress connected UTI, but they'll join, they'll be willing to lend their expertise. So opposition, instead of levying allegations, must offer a concrete plan, must supplement Nilekani's effort. This brings me to, friends, a question to you. My question to the audience. Now let me ask you, friends, a question. Suppose your son or daughter studies sincerely for 2 years, and just between the examination, just before the examination, and just before the examination, the paper leaks. How would you feel as a parent? What would be your reaction? How would you console your child? What will be your way to deal with the frustration and the attendant depression in which the student, the youth, is likely to slip into? Have you got answer to that? The conclusion, friends, is India is a nation of young people. We must never allow their confidence to be destroyed. We have seen in cockroach agitation, Gen Z's capability as a force. Force could be a water stored in the dam can move turbines and generate electricity. It could be constructively used, but dam bursts could destroy the downstream cities. Let that force not go wasted. Let that force not go begging. Let that force be utilized, channelized. If this government and the opposition put together are able to chart the path of our youth tomorrow, which doesn't subject them to this kind of situations, destroying their confidence, destroying their hope, destroying their capabilities and their faith in the future, I think tomorrow is ours. But simply because we have the largest population, simply because we are the youngest country with a rotten education system and still rotten system of competitive examination selection process, you can't win the world. Opportunity is knocking at your doors. Let it not go begging. Let opposition also have similar group like Nandan Nilekani group. Let them come out with their suggestions. Sensibly talk rather than only criticize it. That should be the way out. Sit together. This is the issue pertaining to the youth at large, which is the biggest asset this country has. And if you can deal with the biggest asset with sheer neglect and play your political games, making use of them as pawns, the history will not forgive you. Be it opposition or be it a ruling party. Let us, for heaven's sake, be objective, be honest, be transparent. The issue is genuine. Let us deal with it genuinely. I think the answer lies there. There cannot be people for or people against it. Paper leak is a common question. There has to be everybody against it. Like when any country attacks India, there is no opposition. Similarly, this is also an attack to break India. We cannot afford being factionalized, faction ridden, pygmy society. The history will not then leave you without criticism. The history will be severely unkind to you, and if it does, I think it will be right. So let us understand that paper leak is a genuine issue. Frustration of youth is a genuine issue. We will have to find answers to the unemployment, like we'll have to find answer to farmers' issues. We'll have to find issues that the youth is facing today. And in that, there cannot be any opposition. Let me tell you, anybody who in the opposition thinks that they are here only to criticize the government in power. Make your suggestions positively. Employ your talents. You have talents. Come out with an alternative. Suggest something. And I'm sure Nilekani is a person who will not hesitate accepting something which is useful, which makes value addition to his committee's findings. Let us hope that he does his job all right, the government permits him to do his job all right, and the opposition for a change behaves sensibly. Do not politicalize on this issue. This is not the issue on which there are certain issues on which you cannot and you should not politicalize. So with this, friends, I will leave this whole issue to you. I'll be happy to know what you feel about it. What are your feelings? Tell me. Tell me frankly. Tell me about Nilekani committee. Tell me about opposition's attitude. Tell me about paper leak. Tell me about Dharmendra Pradhan. Tell me about Prime Minister's apology which they are seeking for. Feel free to make your observations. I'll always welcome them. I like to deal with them. But I'm very clear, nation first. If the nation survives, you survive. If the national pride soars high, your pride also soars high. If you stand under Tiranga with a sense of purpose and fulfillment, then you are the real Indian citizen. Let us hope. I see a great hope in Nandan Nilekani committee. And I feel wiser counsel will prevail amongst the opposition to have a similar committee, equally competent, because Bahuratna Vasundhara, the wisdom is not only concentrated in the minds of few. You can do a similar job yourself also. Let's hope something good will come out. Our youth, if used rightly, is a force to reckon with. That is a force which will put India on the top of the world. But if not dealt with properly, it could be a dam burst, a disaster which can wipe out everything. Let's hope that doesn't happen. Thank you, friends. This is your friend, Dr. Jaynarayan Vyas. You're watching Global Crossroads. Before I conclude my request, if you're not subscribed to our channel, please do that. We are just a budding channel. We are just making a beginning. We need your support. Support by way of subscription. And subscription doesn't cost you money. We want quality subscribers. who are assets, who can make us suggestions, observations, which will improve our quality of broadcast. So please subscribe yourself. Tell your overseas friends to join us. Let us make the Global Crossroads, which is first of its kind of an English-speaking channel from Gujarat, be a national channel and an international channel. This is your channel, and you can only make it or marry it. And I have a faith in your support. Thank you so much. Look forward to see you again with some other issue of national or international importance. Thank you so much, and may God bless you. Thank you.